Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to Monday, and today is Module 1, Lesson 1, and we're going to be learning all about a great heart. So some of the materials that you're going to need right now is going to be your interactive journal, your daily comprehension, your note-taking paper, and your word web. So if you don't have those available, please pause the video and go get them. So Module 1, Lesson 1 is going to be the objective. Student will be able to identify and explain figurative language. What are we going to do and how are we going to do it? We're going to identify figurative language. We're going to explain the use of figurative language. And we're going to ask ourselves, what does this statement mean and what does it say? Write the figurative meaning. So what I'm going to do, boys and girls, is I'm going to show you how we're going to take notes in our paper. So don't forget, you need a pencil. So first I'm going to start off with my name. And I'm going to put today's date. So today is 8/17/2020. And we're talking about figurative language. So I'm going to write here figurative language. So remember, these are my notes. These are the ones that I can always refer back to at a later time. So I'm going to go back to my notes and it says, what am I going to do? We're going to talk about figurative language and then we're going to ask ourselves, does this statement mean what it says? So I'm going to write that down. Does this statement or sentence, I'm going to write sentence. Does this sentence mean what it says? And then I'm going to write another little note here. Figurative language is a figure of speech. So figurative language is a figure of speech. It does not mean what it says. So figurative language, it's a figure of speech, does not mean what it says. It could be an exaggeration, it could be a common idiom. So if you have not finished copying this, make sure you pause the video. Now make sure that you take out your notebook. So on your composition book, we're going to go ahead and add an anchor chart. So by now you should have already decorated your interactive and response journal. You could already glue it down. I stapled mine. If you don't have glue or if you don't have a stapler, don't worry about it. You can just write here interactive journal. You can write here interactive journal. That way when I say take out your interactive journal, you know this is your interactive. And then the other one is your response journal. So right now, because we're going to do an anchor chart, we need our interactive journal. So go ahead and open it to a new page. So it's going to be right after the prefix and suffixes. And I'm going to turn it to the side. So if you have a highlighter, you can go ahead and use that. I'm going to use my red pen so that you can see it better. And you may also use a highlighter. Okay, so I'm going to start on this side. I always write my name, date, and go. So today, don't forget, is 8/17/2020. My goal right now is to go to 5th grade. I know 4th grade just started, but that is our big goal. Our big goal is to get to 5th grade. Alrighty. Let's start with the first one. Remember, boys and girls, if I'm going too fast and if you need more time, make sure you pause the video. First one is a simile. And a simile compares two things using like, and I'm going to use little parentheses. So I'm using little parentheses, like or as. So an example of that, boys and girls, I'm going to put here, all this column is going to be examples. An example is they are like, and then you can underline it or highlight it if you have a highlighter. They are like two peas in a pod. What does that mean? They are like two peas in a pod. Well, I know they're comparing two things. But what are they saying? The actual meaning, so this is your figurative language. The actual meaning means, so I'm going to use a different color. They are best friends. So if you ever hear a teacher or your mom or your dad or your cousin saying with your best friend saying, you are like two peas in a pod, that means you're best friend. You are doing things always together, maybe dressing the same, maybe doing the same things. You are being compared. Next one is going to be metaphor. And a metaphor compares two things, just like a simile. But a metaphor uses is or are. So remember, boys and girls, a simile uses like or as, while a metaphor uses is or are. An example of that is her smile is the sun. Her smile is the sun. What does that mean, boys and girls? What does it mean by her smile is the sun? Okay, well, let's think about it. The sun is very bright, so that means her smile is bright. It illuminates the room. It makes everybody happy. So if I say Ms. Garza has a smile that is the sun, that means that when Ms. Garza smiles, she illuminates the whole room. She makes everything happy. Next one is going to be idiom. Next one is idiom. So this is a phrase with a different meaning. I love idioms. So what do I mean by idiom? I know you've heard this before. For example, it's raining cats and dogs. Boys and girls, remember, let's ask ourselves, can it be really raining cats and dogs? No, but it means what? What is the actual meaning of this idiom? It means it's raining really hard outside. So I'm going to put here, it's raining really hard outside. So I don't mean a little drizzle. I mean like it's raining, there's thunder, there's maybe lightning, it's raining super hard. You know those times when your mom and dad is driving, or your parents or your siblings, whoever you drives, they're driving and you can't even see in the windshield. It's raining cats and dogs. So say that to your mom and dad next time it rains really hard. Let them know that that's an idiom. Next one is hyperbole. So a hyperbole is a big, obvious exaggeration. So an example of a hyperbole is, I am so hungry. I could eat a horse. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse, Miss Alvarado. I cannot wait for lunchtime. What does that mean? That means you're starving. You probably skipped lunch. You hadn't had anything, so your stomach is growling that you feel like you could just have a big, huge meal. Can it, boys and girls, remember, ask yourself, can this really happen? Can you really eat a full entire horse? No, definitely not. But it means that you're starving. So I'm going to put a little note here. And it means the person is starving. I'm going to underline that. That means a person is starving. They're exaggerating. They're using a hyperbole. Sometimes students like to say, Miss Alvarado, I'm as fast as a cheetah because cheetahs run really fast. Boys and girls, can a student really run as fast as a cheetah? No, right? They're exaggerating. That's a huge exaggeration. There is no way a student or a human can run as fast as a cheetah. It is a hyperbole. Next one is alliteration. So alliteration repeats the beginning sound of words near each other. So what do I mean by that? So it repeats the beginning sound of words near each other. For example, Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Look at all this sound. Can you hear it? Say it out loud. Sally sells seashores by the seashore. The sound. It's repeating at the beginning. So this is another type of figurative language. Oh my goodness, I forgot to put a title here. Let's go ahead and title this Figurative Language. So figurative language is my title. Alrighty, next one. All students' favorite is personification. And personification describes non-human things using human voices. So I ran out of space, so I'm going to do it like that, but that's okay. Because I'm writing really big to make sure everybody can see. For example, if I say, Tofu, my cat, says hello. Can Tofu, my cat, really talk? No, he's a cat. What I mean is that he is meowing, and I just think he's saying hello. That's just another example of figurative language. So Tofu, my cat, says hello. He can't do that. I can't say, boys and girls, this pen says that we're going to have an amazing day. This pen can't talk. That is not possible. Remember, you can always pause the video to come back. I'm going to go ahead and flip my page because I'm out of space. We are going to flip it to the back because we use every single space. All right, next one is onomatopoeia. So that one is a mouthful. So onomatopoeia, what word? Onomatopoeia. So let's go ahead and write it down here. So onomatopoeia is a word that creates a sound. Onomatopoeia is a word that creates a sound. For example, bam, boom, vowels are words, but they also create a sound. So I'm going to underline that. It creates a sound. So boom, pow, oink is another one. Oink, oink. It's a word, but it also creates a sound. And last one but not least is a consonant. And a consonant repeats consonant sounds within words in a sentence or phrase. Miss Alvarado, what do you mean by that? So an example would be pitter patter. Remember, sound is your clue word. Pitter patter, trip, drop. Alrighty, boys and girls, remember you can always pause this at any time. So I have my figurative language anchor chart. I have my notes. I asked myself, can this really happen? Does this really mean what it says? Let's go ahead and continue with our lesson. Next thing we're going to do, boys and girls, is we are going to watch a quick video. So make sure you turn your sound up.
Today, we are talking about figurative versus literal language. So, what is figurative language, you ask? Figurative language is when you use a word that does not have its normal language. First, it's raining cats and dogs. You might think it looks something like this, but actually, it's just raining really hard. Another example is it's 1,000 degrees outside. No, we're not on a scorched planet. It's just really hot. There are different types of figurative language. These include similes, metaphors, hyperboles, personification, alliteration, idiom, and onomatopoeia. Don't worry about memorizing all those right now. We're going to learn more about that later. Okay, so what is literal language? Well, literal language means exactly what it says and nothing more. Now for some examples of literal language. First, it is raining hard. Literally means it is raining really hard. The second one, it is a warm day. You notice it says exactly what it means. Now let's decide, is it figurative or literal? The ice cream was calling my name. What do you think? Can ice cream really call your name? No, that makes it figurative. I wanted to eat the ice cream. That's the literal one. Now you know the difference between figurative language and literal language.
Alrighty, before we start playing some games, I need to make sure that you have your word web. So make sure you take out your word web, and the first word that we are going to write on our word web is going to be figurative. Okay, so we are going to take out our word web and we are going to write here the word figurative. Figurative language. Remember, figurative language is a figure of speech. It does not mean what it says. It's just an exaggeration. It's trying to make a point. So usually the author uses this to try to tell you in a figurative speech or a figurative language something that they want to tell you. So boys and girls, remember, we go to dictionary.com and I'm going to type in the word figurative. Once we look up the word figurative, there is different meanings. There's 5 meanings. It is up to me, which is the best meaning? Number 1 says out of the nature or of involving figure of speech, especially a metaphor, metaphorical, and not literal. Look at the example, boys and girls, that they gave us. The word head has several figurative senses, as she's the head of the company. Boys and girls, remember, we ask ourselves, does that really mean what it says? She's the head of the company. Do they mean like there's a head and that's what's running the company? No, they mean that there's a woman who is in charge of the company. Maybe she's the president. Maybe she's like Miss Garza, that's the principal. And look at number 2, metaphorically so-called. His remark was a figurative boomerang. Number 3, abounding in or fond of figure of speech. Number 4, representing by means of a figure like likeness, as in drawing or sculpture. And number 5, representing by a figure or emblem, emblematic. So boys and girls, if you notice these words that are underlined in blue, you could actually click on them and it will give you the definition for figure of speech. Remember when I said earlier that figurative language is a figure of speech? Look what it says. Any expressed use language as a metaphor, simile, personification. We won't use this in 4th grade. Antithesis, in which words are used in other than their literal sense, or in any other than the ordinary locutions, in order to suggest a picture or image of other special effect. So boys and girls, what are they doing? They're trying to paint a picture in your head of what is actually happening. So I'm going to go ahead and choose number 1, because that is the one that makes the most sense. So I'm going to go back to my paper and I'm going to write of the nature or involving figure of speech. So of the nature. So I know that I write really big because I have to use a marker, but yours should fit all of here. So of the nature of or involving figure of speech. Now it wants a picture. So my favorite figure of speech is it's raining cats and dogs. So I'm just going to do a little cat, that it's raining. I'm really bad at drawing, and you'll see throughout the year I'm horrible at drawing. So I'm going to do just this, just something that reminds me that it's raining cats and dogs. Maybe a little umbrella. So it's raining cats and dogs. I know that's a figure of speech. It doesn't really mean it's raining cats and dogs. Okay, so where it says sentence, I want you to give me an example of that. Where would I get those examples from, boys and girls? Remember, we just did an anchor chart and we have a ton of examples of figurative language. Choose the one you best like and make sure you write it here on the sentence. All right, now let's look at this box. This box is asking for the synonym and the antonym. Remember, boys and girls, what is a synonym? It's a word that means the same. So an antonym is a word that means the opposite. So go ahead and write that. Let's go back to our dictionary entry. So I want you to look right here where it says see synonyms for figurative on thesaurus.com. Remember, boys and girls, when we go back to school, you will be using a thesaurus and a dictionary so that you can find the definition, the synonyms, and the antonyms. For now, we're using the website, which is okay. So a synonym for figurative language would be all of these. So you can choose the best one you like. For example, a metaphor, a simile. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to write it here. So it would be a simile. Now, boys and girls, what would be the antonym of figurative language? So if figurative language does not mean what it says, what was the opposite? Remember in the video it gave us that other word when the sentence means a literal thing? It would be literal. So when I say literally, I mean that sentence really means that. For example, I am starving, I could eat a whole burger. Can that really happen, boys and girls? Can I eat a whole burger by myself? Yes, right? We can all eat a whole burger by ourselves. I am starving. I can eat a whole pizza by myself. Can that happen? Yes. Should I be doing that? No. But literally means the real meaning. It means just that. Figurative means an expression. It's raining cats and dogs. I could eat a whole horse because I'm starving. It cannot happen, boys and girls. Okay, and the focusing question we are going to be seeing every single day is, how does someone show a great heart figuratively? We will come back to that question. And remember, we are going to play a game. It's going to be very quick. It's raining cats and dogs. Remember, boys and girls, look at your notes. Can this literally happen? So this one means literal. This one means figurative. Remember, literal can happen. It is true. Figurative is just a way that we speak. So boys and girls, do a fist and go. It's raining cats and dogs. It is figurative. So if you had your 3 fingers up, you are 100% correct. What about the next one? Has a cat got your tongue? Think about it, boys and girls. Can a cat literally or really have your tongue? Can it literally open your mouth and get your tongue out? No, it cannot, boys and girls. So this is a literal, real, or figurative, just a way that we speak. And go. It is figurative. Good job if you're getting these all 2 correct. Next one, my legs turn to jelly. Boys and girls, can your legs literally turn into jelly? For real, can they turn into jelly? Absolutely not. That is an example of figurative. Good job if you got all these 3 correct. So how are they alike? How are they the same? They're all figurative. So we will continue this game in class. Just before you go, you have 3 minutes. I do need you to have your do now in front of you, have your homework section in front of you, and have your workbook in front of you. I will see everybody in class.